Hi everybody, Ted Jordan here for our new series, Professional Acting for the Long Haul. Today we're going to be talking about a couple of places you may want to stay away from. And again, this is just my opinion. Your experience may be completely different than mine, but I'm going to tell you why I have these opinions, because I have experience with both. Okay. Now, the two places we're going to talk about today are Barbizon and John Robert Powers. Now, am I here to slam anybody? No. What I'm looking to do is give you an honest assessment from my opinion, because I have experience with both. One, I was hired as an instructor on, which was John Robert Powers. The other, I was a student at, Barbizon. Let's start there. In the early 80s, I was looking to get into this industry, and I was really excited about it, like I am today, but a lot more mature, as you can see. Now, in the early 80s, I spent my money with Barbizon. I heard about them, didn't know a whole lot. We didn't have the internet back then, so you really couldn't do a lot of research and all that kind of stuff. So I go down and I spend my money, and I think it was like a 6 to 8 week course. In that time, I learned two things. One, how to walk down the runway, the catwalk, and how to be a model. And two, I learned how to shave. Yeah, and I really shave extremely well. Matter of fact, you don't do this, you do this. Not up, but down. Those are the two things I remember in my years at Barbizon. Okay, not my years, but the last few weeks. It was several years ago that I went. Now, things could have changed by then. It could have, maybe it has. But here's the one thing I do know. I don't hear any of my colleagues really touting Barbizon as a place to go or a stalwart in the industry. I don't hear that. Matter of fact, I hear from casting directors and others who are professionals in this industry, it is something you need to stay away from, or they're not talked about at a wonderful, high professional level. It's not, okay? Again, is it a legitimate opportunity? Yes. However, is it a good investment for your money? I don't think so. I think you should probably stay away from it. Again, it's up to you. The choice is always yours. All right, now, moving on to John Robert Powers. Fast forward to 2003. A colleague of mine that I was working with was working at John Robert Powers in New Orleans, and she told me about an opportunity that they were hiring and looking for a voice and diction coach. Now, I'd never done voice and diction, never taught an acting class of any kind before, but I was always blessed to be able to learn while I was earning. So I threw my hat in the ring. I took the interview, and it went really well, and I got hired. So I got hired on, I did my research so I could do everything I could to make sure my students knew exactly what they needed and how to be prepared for their opportunities. That's always been my credo until this very day. So I do that very well. I teach the classes, and then I have an opportunity to be promoted to an acting instructor. Again, I've never done this before, so what do? I do some more research, and I go off of the experience that I've had as a professional actor in this industry. That started off a little rocky. Got some complaints because it was a little boring and whatnot. So what I decided to do, I decided to go and get scripts from TV, movie, monologues, and this kind of thing. Once I began to install these into our class, the classes skyrocketed. People loved coming into my classes because we were pouring all this cool stuff in, and we were training them up in a realistic way to prepare them for real for this very competitive business. It is highly competitive, and you need to get trained, but you also need to be smart in who's going to train you. That's why we're talking about this today. Now, am I slamming the owners of John Robert Powers or Barbizon? No, I am not. I don't know the owners of Barbizon. I do know the owners of the school here in St. Louis and in New Orleans. Very nice people, very approachable people. I like both of them, as a matter of fact, but they're business people. So, that being said, is it wrong about people being in business? No, nothing wrong with that at all. Is it wrong with somebody making a profit? Absolutely not. We want to make money. You should want to make money. Hey, that's what you're getting into this thing for, at least part of it. The burning passion and desire needs to be first and foremost, though. So, saying that to say this, They're business people. They're good people. But when it comes to the business end of it, it's more money first than people first. See, anytime you put people first, then they love you. They care about you because you are letting them know that you care about them. It's not just talking about, but it's genuineness of purpose. Look, I care enough about you to tell you the truth. I care enough about you to steer you from danger, steer you from something that could harm you or something that could just steal the money away from you. That's why we're having this conversation today. John Robert Powers and Barbizon are both legitimate businesses who have the right to be in business, and they can do that. But for the money, I don't believe that they're worth the money because you don't get what you really need from them, the information, the training, and the teaching for the most part. It's sketchy sometimes because you don't know who's in front of you. You don't know that instructor, and sometimes they don't even allow the parents, if you have children who are up and coming actors in this thing, they don't even allow you to meet with the instructors. You want to meet with the instructors to see what they see. But then there's another problem with that I can't really go into right now because it's so detailed in how the behind the scenes thing actually works. Now, I have a colleague of mine, and she's a good friend of mine, who also was a student at John Robert Powers. Now, she allowed me to share her story, and we're going to wrap this up here today. Now, she spent $3,000 going to LA. Now, everybody thinks LA is the thing, and it still is for the most part. But if you're looking to get into this, a side note, Atlanta, Georgia is a popping metropolis too, and it's right to work, and you don't have to join the union, and there's a whole lot of stuff going on in Atlanta, Georgia, and all around Georgia, and it's less expensive to live too, I want to tell you that. So this is the other thing that people don't always tell you about. They're touting LA all the time, but there are other metropolises around that can help you and aid you, but you gotta get trained first. Again, am I slamming any one of these two businesses? No, but I am warning you and giving you some good advice through my experience. Now, yours may vary. It could do that. If it does, fantastic. If it's working out for you, wonderful. But for me and others in the industry, I don't hear people talking about John Robert Powers as the stalwart in this industry. As a matter of fact, I hear the exact opposite. There have been tons of schools that have closed at JRP all around the country. And that was going on while we were still involved in it, my wife and I, because she was a school director in the JRP in New Orleans. And again, she has even more stories to tell because she was a part of the administrative part of this thing. Now, I'm gonna wrap it up here. Get the training, get the training, get the training. It's extremely important, but it's also important to find out who you're getting training from, okay? I hope this helps, and I look forward to talking to you. Take care, have a wonderful day.